What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Gotta Get Back, the Samurai Jack and Review Show. My name is Kyle, your host. Welcome to Project Potter, or welcome back if you've seen the show before. Hopefully you have. This is the 35th episode, guys. This is a good one, and it's funny because a few episodes ago there was like some Jack facts about this episode and the other episode, Jack in the Haunted House, and I was like that sounds dumb. I didn't know there was an episode called Jack in the Haunted House. Yeah, I was wrong on that. We'll get to that in just a bit here, guys. But if you haven't seen the show before, it is a recap of the episode. It is a favorite character, a favorite scene, a score out of 10, and then sometimes Jack facts and Jack trivia. Thanks for checking out the channel, guys, and here we go. So this one kicks off, guys, with the moonlight basically over kind of a dead forest. The leaves are blowing. Jack is cold once again. Man, can someone get this boy a blanket? Like, get this boy a blanket, dude. Poor Jack is always cold. He's always wandering around. He sees like a little girl in a hood, and she's holding what looks like to be a doll of the creature, of the Totoro creature from a couple episodes ago. Jack kind of follows her. She drops it, and Jack kind of follows her over to like a big house that's kind of overlooking. It's like this big, like ancient Chinese house, and she goes in there, and he kind of follows her up the stairs, and there's a couple different there's like a bird outside and stuff, but it kind of leads him back to like the back door. There's a woman like with a fire inside, but there's like all these, I don't know if they're like butterflies, but they kind of shoot out at the last second. The tone is very like dark, and Jack is nervous already, and everything seems a little uneasy. But Jack opens up the sliding door, and it's a really cool shot. It's like everything's dusty, and there's cobwebs, and it's dark, and there's like a big altar in there. Again, guys, I have said before, the sound effects in Samurai Jack are superb, and this, again, is true, and especially in this episode. So Jack goes in there, he like kicks a pot, and you can hear it like rolling around, and it's just excellent. Just really excellent sound design. And so what's really cool about this house is that Jack kicks a pot, and every time he gets like these flashbacks, it's like this art style behind me where it's like it's almost like the Take on Me sort of style there, where it's like, I don't even know what kind of art style it is, but it's like white background, and it's like sketched, and it's like everything is moving kind of like a rigid pace. I don't really know how to describe it, so I'm going to sound stupid trying to explain the style, but you guys know what I'm talking about if you've seen the episode. And so every time he gets these are like horror flashbacks. And so he's kind of putting together the pieces of what happened in this house. And so there's the first one is like the father, and he's like painting or something, and he's kind of like screaming. Eventually he goes around to the other side there, and he sees the wife because there's a candle that's on the ground. And when he looks at the candle, there's like a woman who turns around, and she's like screaming. And again, these are all in that old, like really old black and white style, like super, almost like a rough draft, but it's like demonic. It's really, really incredible, like lighting and art style. I love that style so much. But she screams and she drops the candle. So Jack knows something is up. He does light another candle when he's walking around. And he just knows like something is wrong. Something is going bad in this house. So he sees like a wisp or like something that like beckons him to the next room. There's like a trap door down there that he looks, I guess it's a trap door, or maybe just a cellar door. So he looks down there, and he looks around, and now Jack, he's like really suspicious of everything that's going on. So he like slowly scans like the table, and there's like pill bottles and different things on there. There's like a ship that's on the ground with a sail, and he goes to like investigate that. And then this is where Jack gets another flashback, and this is what the father was painting. But then the cellar door is like shaking, and it bursts open, and he looks down, and there's like energy coming up. It's really scary, like genuinely scary. The sound effect, every time this happens to you guys, it's like distorted sound. It's so good. It's so awesome. And so Jack is creeping around, and it's legitimately like a horror movie. This is still a kid's show, but like this was easily the most mature episode they've had. And so the little girl like scurries up, And just at the top of the stairs, he sees her and she goes up, and I'm like, oh, dude, don't follow the kids. Never follow the kids. It's always going to lead somewhere bad that you do not want to be in. So Jack goes up there, and again, they're in like this old room. He sees the different like lights. He's like, hello. He's like, please come out. I'm not going to hurt you. And he's like, I'm just going to leave your little doll here. And he like looks up on the painting, and it's like he gets another flashback of this warrior on a horse, and he's like running, and he's scared. And I don't know how to describe. I wish I could describe the animation better because it's so cool, and I don't feel like I'm doing it justice. But I'm not an artist, so I don't know how to describe it. But eventually, he does find the little girl, and he's like, look, is this your home? And she starts crying, and he's like, look, we need to get out of here. He's like, we've already been here longer than I'd like to be. Like, I think we've already been here too long. And then there's a great shot where he looks up at the poster, and one of the pigs is like giving like a concerned look back. It's really like demonic, and there's just something off about the whole place. If you've seen any horror movie or anything like that, you can tell. There is like a sort of like a statue out front, and it's got kind of like the Aku headgear there. But Jack goes down, and he's like, come on, let's leave. And and now the place where there was a door, there's now just a huge like brick wall. And he's like, this is impossible. He's like, I know there was a door here before. And he's like, how can this be? He's like, come on. And they run back upstairs. And then he goes into the room, and he's like, what? And all the windows are gone. And it's the same brick wall. And he's like, no, there was a window here and here and here. And I was like, oh, dude, this is messed up. Like, so the house is changing, and this little girl starts crying, and he's like, don't worry, we're going to figure this out. But he's like, we must get out of this house. He's like, this shape-shifting house, something is going on. Jack like eventually nods asleep, but he's woken up from like these quick flashes of like this demon over here behind me, which is like mostly man, but then it's got like the head, like not a horse's head, it's like a werewolf or a dog head, which is just to signify like demonic. And so Jack kind of wakes up, and he's startled up. He goes into this like bright room where it's like a mom, a dad, looks a lot like Jack's dad, really, a brother, and then the little girl. And the little girl looks really sad. The rest of them look okay. And it's like this like really lightly lit room. Jack knows something is up. He's like, no, you guys are fake. And he's like, fake? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, please sit down and have some tea with us or whatever. And he sits down, and Jack is just like, he looks at it, but then he takes a sip of it. But he probably shouldn't have done that because he knows it's not real. Jack falls for that trap a little bit. But then the brother and the sister, they start getting nervous, and they take a sip, and then suddenly like their eyes roll to the back of their head, and then they start like spitting up like the tea. And the little girl says, I'm sorry. And the dad's like, they must not be feeling very well. And it's really messed up because like they're literally like their eyes are rolled to the back of their head, and they're spitting up the tea. And then eventually their mouths just like snap back, and there's just like evil energy that emits from their mouths. And like the lightly lit room that was like an illumination, that now transforms back to the haunted house. And yeah, the energy just bursts out. It's really messed up, and it's really like surprising. And then the father too, he like eventually he spits up, and so it's the dark energy that forms into like this like dog head that we see. It's almost like this huge like creature dragon that goes over him, and it's really awesome because again, it's like very distorted, and it's rough, and it's like normal style with Jack's in the house, and then like that creature is just like constantly like it's like rough sketches. I don't know how to describe it. Anyone, if there's any animators watching this, I'm sure they're gonna be like, wow, this kid's an idiot. But Jack gets another flashback, and we kind of see more of what happened here, where the father, who's like riding on a horse, the skies are black, and there's like wind swirling, and he's trying to save himself, but there's almost like a tornado above him, and he looks up in horror. And the demon comes out there, and it just same thing as it's doing to Jack. It like kind of goes over him, and it kind of sucks his energy out, and the horse runs away. Then we get the same thing on the woman. We kind of are putting together pieces of what happened there. The demon comes over, and he like sucks her up there, and then we see I'm sorry, it's actually the brother that was painting, and then it comes out of the cellar, and then it goes over him, and it sucks him up there. So it looks to do the same thing with Jack. It's basically like possessing these people in the house. So there's all these like wisps of energy here, and it goes all around Jack. Again, incredible visuals, just like absolutely stunning. And every time while this is all happening, guys, we're getting like distorted audio, but like intentionally distorted, where it sounds kind of rough, but it also sounds so cool, and it sounds very, very demonic and great. And so now things are falling at Jack, where there's spears on the wall, and those come off, and those are thrown at him. Jack like leaps up, and he grabs like the top, but that pole comes down intentionally, and like there's just tables being thrown at him, like the spirit throws the table at him, and it knocks him through a wall, and Jack is just like completely outmatched. And so he gets knocked in the other room, and there's like these weeds, or like these almost like tentacles that come out of like with dark energy, and they wrap Jack around his waist and his arms and his legs, so he's stuck. He can't move. And then the demon just like goes over him, and then it starts sucking his energy out, and it's really crazy, and it's really cool. So it's like this, it's got its mouth is like wide open, and there's just like this light coming out, and Jack's like face is being sucked off, and it's really, really cool and really messed up. But this is what brings him back into basically this like sketched world, this like white world, where it's now Jack is drawn in this old style, over here behind me, and like everything is kind of glitching, and he sees the other family members stuck in here, kind of like the Demongo essences, but this is like way darker and way more demonic. And so Jack has like got these black sketches all around him, like it's caged in there, and like this demon shows up there, and it's ripped, and there's like a really awesome shot where he just turns his head, and it's terrifying, dude, like absolutely terrifying. And I don't like get scared easily, and I was uncomfortable the whole time. But just in awe of this art style. So yeah, not only do they have like most of the episode remaining here, we actually get like a fight later on, but Jack is stuck here, and his sword, he like focuses really hard, so his sword slowly comes out, and I was like, is this sword gonna come at him, dude? Because I didn't know if Jack was controlling it or not, but he has the wherewithal to like get his sword to cut the locks that are on him, and so he's got the sword, and again, it's like everything is on fire, kind of is how to describe it. And so it's like, it almost looks like old timey, but it's just very like out of place, like different world. Like, you know that like something is going on there. And then we get an incredible fight between Jack and this demon. And again, he's got like basically the body of a man, like a ripped man, and he's got a demon head, almost like a dog. And he's going after, the demon, and he's got like a flaming sword, and he's got like this energy blast that he throws at him, and he's got fireballs, and Jack is jumping and going left and right, and then eventually Jack like puts his sword into the demon, and it like explodes, or so we think, until the demon is still there, and it like he looks like he's like only gotten bigger, and Jack is kind of outmatched, and he gets a huge fireball. He's like got a spirit bomb basically, dude. And Jack is a little worried, and he throws it at him. Jack dodges it, but it's a homing missile, and so it comes back at him, and he's kind of controlling it with his arms. And again, while this is happening, we're getting this distorted audio, and it's like dark and demanding tone, and we get zoom ins on the demon and zoom ins on Jack. And Jack has a moment where he goes like Super Saiyan, basically, where he focuses up, and then like the energy around him kind of goes up, and then he just focuses his sword, and he throws a couple more like energy balls at him. Jack deflects a couple, but then we get a slow-mo shot. It's so cool, where it's coming at Jack, and he goes like this. He gets a sword, and he has the balls to grab the ball of dark energy. He doesn't know what that's going to do to him, but he knows to defeat this demon, he's going to throw it back at him. So he gets it, turns around, and throws it back at him. The possessed demon is destroyed. That puts Jack back in the real world. Some of the house starts like collapsing, but basically the demon's spirit is lifted, and the windows go in, like the energy returns back to Jack. It's like this really cool shot of like screen that's blazing through, and it's basically like crossing dimensions into Jack. And he's like, I'm sorry, I was able to defeat the demon that possessed your house, but he's like, I was unable to free your parents or your family, but I did see them in there, which is a weird line, because then he just looks over and they're just fine. So like when he defeated the demon, it released their their souls back to their body. And so there's like a nice moment where the sun's shining in and they all hug together and the sun is out now, and it kind of slowly pans out from the house. And that is how this incredible episode ends. Okay, guys, for the magic sword, for this one, I'm going to give it to Jack, because not only did he go in the house and then kind of try to escape and help the little girl and look out for someone else like he always does, but he actually had some of his life or his soul seemingly sucked out of his body into another dimension and ended up fighting a demon and then destroying it in its own dimension, where he's like completely outmatched and just super crazy. So yeah, Jack was incredible in this episode, and he had some little detective skills here and kind of piecing together what happened, and then going back in the dimension and freeing the little girl, even though he didn't intend to do that, obviously, but kind of saving that family and reading that house of the demon. Jack gets my magic sword for sure for this week. Okay, guys, so for a portal in time for this one, I'm going to kind of cheat here. I couldn't pick one single one because it's so good. It's so visually appealing and uncomfortable and amazing and great. So for the portal in time, what I'm going to do is pick that entire sequence when Jack's soul gets sucked, when he goes into that dimension. That whole sequence until the end when he defeats the demon is just like some of the coolest thing I've ever seen. So that whole sequence is going to get my portal in time, or portals in time, really, for this week. Okay, guys, this is the fun part. This is where the fun begins, as Anakin Skywalker says. So this one, I was thinking, and I was like, okay, number one, like I said, a couple weeks ago, I didn't know that there's a Haunted Mansion episode. I didn't remember this one really at all. I kind of remember watching this before, but not really. And certainly not with like a critical eye like I was doing this time. So watching this one, I was like, all right. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And then just like as I was going, I was just like, wow, this is super, super impressive. For the first time in Gotta Get Back history, guys, this episode is getting a perfect 10 out of 10 from me. Yes, that's right. I think this is a perfect episode of Samurai Jack. I think it was incredibly compelling from start to finish, and just what they did with the animation alone to give us little glimpses into that art style for the flashbacks, that was cool enough. Like they could have stopped there and I would have been like, that was a neat episode. And then for them to not only have, this was easily the most mature episode of Samurai Jack to date, and I know season 5 is more mature, so I'll have to see how that stacks up, but this one 100%, like, guys, I'm gonna be 30 in November, okay? And depending on when this releases, I might already be 30. But the point is that, like, I am a grown man, and I was like nervous and scared and on the edge of my seat, and I don't get spooked super easily. Like, I really like horror stuff. I play Resident Evil. I like watching horror movies. I love the It movies, and like, I love all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I was nervous for what was going to happen in this house. And that just shows you, and especially with it being an animated show, that shows you, dude, it's not even like real actors going in there. It's like you can have a lot more creative freedom when you have something that doesn't have to be acted out or doesn't have to be put in there. So they can draw whatever they can come up with that's going to be creepy. And just that style and the way that they had that distorted sound, I was like, oh my God, it was so good, because they did the sound, like I said, I say this for a lot of Samurai Jack episodes. It's incredible. It really is. Like, if you want to know why Samurai Jack has won awards, just listen to it. Really, you don't even have to look at it. And it's just phenomenal. So the fact that they had the great sound where he like kicks over the pot when he comes in there, and just the eeriness and dark tone, and then they introduce this distorted audio, and it's so creepy and so good, and it just feels like it's from another dimension or another world. And it's like, the fact that they were able to keep doing that, and then the fact that they gave us a full-fledged fight scene in that style, which I'm sure was incredibly hard to draw and incredibly hard to animate and put together. And I can only imagine how long this episode took to make, because we got like a lengthy combat scene that was just awesome. Like, and there, I'm speechless, because I just can't believe how good it was. But yeah, Jack going through the house shape-shifting, the house feeling uneasy, you know, there's just something going on, whether it's like kind of like the classic scare where he first goes into the house, and it's like in Batman, it's like the jump scare where Bruce Wayne goes into the Batcave and the bats come flying out. that was kind of the same thing here with the moths or butterflies or whatever that was that came out at the beginning. And then just to see like this had like the scary head turns where like he first sees the demon back there and it just like turns its head really quick, which is like a classic horror trope, and just like the girl at the top of the stairs and he's running and, you know, following a hooded figure into the house. It's just like there's so many things that hit on. And so I had no choice but to give it a perfect score because I just think it hit on action. Visually, I was just absolutely blown away. I just love that style. And every time that the demon showed up or anytime they did a flashback, I was like, give me more of that. Like I could watch an entire episode like that. And it never got old for me. It's really cool. And it just feels very like wrong in a sense where it's like, you just know something bad is going to happen. So yeah, I'm kind of ranting here, guys, but for good reason. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. First 10 I've given, and I don't know if there's going to be another 10, but this one is very, very hard to beat. And it's funny because I didn't even know there was a Haunted Mansion episode. I didn't remember it. And then I was like, wow, not only did I not remember this episode, it's one of the best ones. And I think so far the best episode of Samurai Jack in the series. So shame on me. And yeah, just a masterpiece. Okay, guys. So for Jack Facts, this is cool because, and I'm getting this from Fandom. This is where I get all my Jack Facts, by the way. So shout out to them. And this is kind of what I was talking about here. There are basically breaks it down into 3 different ways that this episode is very different. So we're going to kind of break it down for our 3 Jack Facts here. So the first one is drawing style. Drawing style, it says most episodes are simplistically colored. Characters with foreground objects on a mixture of backgrounds that are sometimes just as cartoonishly colored and highly detailed if painted. It says this episode, however, employs the fancy coloring on all backgrounds and many of the foreground objects. So not only do they change it up with the style here, obviously, but when they do go show you the normal one, it's basically the best version of that as possible. So they put so much detail into every shot. The entire episode looks graphically superior to the other ones. This makes the abandoned state of the house very visible and adds to the immersive effect of the horror graphics. 100% agree. It also makes the living characters stand out from the rest of the house as to symbolize that nothing living belongs here. That's awesome. And finally, it also makes the house itself look strange and unfamiliar to the viewer. In addition, Jack's flashbacks. Oh, the demon's taking me from this review. In addition, Jack's flashbacks and presence in the alternate reality have their own unique drawing style, primarily a minimalist style. Okay, so it's minimalist style is what it's called. Everything is drawn with black smears on a gloomy white background with abrupt animations and lots of flickering. Noise is constantly heard during these scenes. The strangeness of these graphics adds to the horror factor. 1000%, dude, I could not have said that any better. That hopefully explained it a little bit more than my foolish self tried to do earlier in the episode. Number 2, guys, is creepiness. Which, is that a word? I don't know. It is in this episode. This episode has a noticeable lack of background music. Great point. Instead, there is only silence and frequent, seemingly sourceless and highly discomforting ghost noise. Yes, dude. Yes. I'm so glad I'm reading these Jack Facts because this is the words that I couldn't find before. This is exactly it. Jack is visibly unsettled and anxious, as was I. Everything he does seems to trigger something creepy, such as when he knocks over a metal jar and then rolls up to the foot of a statue, making loud noise in an otherwise dead, silent room. Even the gentle music during the family illusion turns unsettling when it suddenly repeats like a broken record, then winds down entirely. The candle and the moonlight are the only source of light inside the house, giving everything an unusual appearance. The coloring of many backgrounds resembles paintbrush strokes, somehow creating an impression of age, wear, ruin, and abandonment. That is awesome, dude. Like I'm just even more blown away just reading these. And then the third one, guys, the third kind of factor that makes it better and creepier and crazier than the other episodes is the antagonist. The demon itself is quite unique compared to most other enemies Jack has faced, including Aku. Its form and the way it's animated is unsettling enough, but the nature of the entity is even worse. It has no comical moments like most other villains, including Aku, It stays hidden for most of the episode, so the viewer has absolutely no idea what unseen force is working against Jack. It consumes people's souls, and after doing so to the little girl's family, it keeps her alive solely for the purpose of using her as bait to lure in more victims. Bro, are you kidding me? It's also likely that they're not the demon's first and only victims, which is even creepier. It's also one of the very few antagonists Jack has faced that doesn't serve or have any relation to Aku. Worst of all, it's never revealed essentially what this demonic spirit is or where it comes from. It's just there. This is without a doubt the most unsettling episode of the series, and that is a perfect cap. And everything that was said there, guys, I 100% agree with. I kind of reflected earlier. But yeah, our Jack facts are kind of just more input, and yeah, just absolutely incredible episode. And that is our Jack facts for this week. All right, guys. Well, that was a whopper. It was worth the wait. 35 episodes in, guys, and we found, I think, the best episode of Samurai Jack. And I don't think it's going to be beat, but we'll see. But yeah, this one, like I said, it gets a perfect 10. Had an absolute blast doing it. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like nervous and uncomfortable the whole time, but I love the style, and it was just really awesome and really like just like gives you chills. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of this episode of Samurai Jack. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell notification, go check out the other content on the channel. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. I promise I will not possess your house or eat your souls. But yeah, until next time, guys, got to get back